For the next few minutes, let's use Google Earth digital imaging to get an idea of some of the international events that were swirling around Israel in the time of Jeremiah. In 626, the Babylonian Empire, together with the Medes, was putting pressure on the Assyrian Empire. Nabopolassar in 612 finally moved his Babylonian troops to Nineveh and took the capital of the Assyrian Empire. Earlier, the Egyptians had been on good terms with the Assyrians to the effect that when the Babylonians were putting pressure on the Assyrians, this made the Egyptians uncomfortable. They at least knew how to deal with the Assyrians. Consequently, we find an Egyptian response to the capture of Nineveh. Pharaoh Necho II is the ruler in Egypt at this time, Dynasty 26. This marked a turn to the consolidation of Egyptian power, leaving the Second Intermediate Period, moving into the Late Kingdom. So Pharaoh Necho decides that he's at least going to try and prop up the Assyrian kingdom, which is on its last fumes. And so he determines that he's going to go towards the headwaters of the Euphrates in Carchemish, northern Syria. You see this towards the top of your screen. He will encounter Nabopolassar there. The year is 609. As you can see, his route is going to move from Sais, the region of his capital, from there, he'll make his way across the delta and up the Mediterranean coast. The ruler in Jerusalem at this time is Josiah. Josiah hears news of the approach of Pharaoh Necho, and even though the Pharaoh does not have a particular quarrel with Josiah, nevertheless, Josiah decides that he is going to lead his own troops and intercept the Pharaoh towards the coast, overlooking the Jezreel Valley at Megiddo. The year is 609. This is the actual archaeologic digs at the ancient town of Megiddo. The battle does not go well for the Israelites. In fact, King Josiah, on many accounts a very good king, loses his life at Megiddo. Pharaoh Necho continues on his way up to Carchemish, where in 609 he will tangle with Nabopolassar, the Babylonian. And at this time, this particular encounter in Carchemish, the Egyptians come out ahead. This is a strategic location because, as you can see, the waterway, the north-south waterway, this is the Euphrates, and it's a pivotal entry area for troops coming from Babylon. They will come through this area. If you can control Carchemish, you can prevent the Babylonians from controlling the Palestine coast along the Mediterranean. So the Egyptians hold this territory. At this time, the Egyptians, thanks to their victory over Josiah, the Egyptians will set up Jehoiakim as the ruler. Now, he is in the Davidic line, so in a sense he is legitimate, but he is put in that position because the Egyptians have put him there. There was a brief king, Jehoahaz, who took the reins after the death of Josiah, but he was deposed and actually taken to Egypt, and Jehoiakim put in place. That's 609. Now, if you can imagine yourself as the Babylonians, they do not take particularly kindly to losing control of Carchemish. The next ruler following Nabopolassar will be Nebuchadnezzar, a familiar name to many. Nebuchadnezzar decides he wants to regain the Carchemish gateway, and so 605. In 605, he moves his troops in that direction, and so does the Pharaoh, and this is still Pharaoh Necho, This time, however, the winds of battle go the opposite direction, and despite reinforcements from other countries, the Egyptian troops are soundly defeated. As you might imagine, the Babylonians do not rest there in Carchemish. They take this as an opportunity to swing right down along the coast and move right up to Jerusalem. The year again is 605. At this time, we have record of one of the deportations. And this again is during the reign still of Jehoiakim, set up by the Egyptians, but now he is being controlled by dominating force of the Babylonians. 605, there's a deportation. This is the time when Daniel is forcibly removed from Jerusalem along with some countrymen, moved from there to Babylon.